What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Auto Shift, where we discuss the news and trends of the automotive industry. In the last episode, we have discussed the benefits of EVs, what makes EVs so much more favorable today than regular conventional vehicles. But enough about the bright side. We'll dive deeper into the dark side of electric vehicles. There are still some challenges needed to be faced by the EV industry before becoming the mainstream of the automotive industry. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our favorite panel of experts, Rudy, Roger, and Elvian. Welcome back, gentlemen.
All right, let's do this.
We should do this more often.
Okay, wait for the discussion.
Yeah. Lots of excitement in our episode today. Alright then, let's begin. Elvian,
Yes.
please tell us what are the disadvantages and challenges that electric vehicles are still facing. As far as I know, there are numerous challenges still blocking the rise of EVs to fame.
Of course, Andrew, there are still some challenges that EVs need to overcome today. One of which is the purchase and ownership costs. The initial purchase price of most new electric vehicles are very expensive compared to the gasoline-powered counterparts of similar-sized features. This is primarily due to the high cost of the battery pack. While government incentives can help reduce the cost, it may vary and not be accessible to all, creating a financial barrier that limits widespread adoption, particularly among lower and middle-income households. Furthermore, EV batteries will degrade over time, and the prospect of an out-warranty battery replacement can cost thousands of ringgits. This creates a significant financial burden, and it can affect long-term cost of ownership calculations and resale value.
But what about charging? Since people can charge their EVs at home for free, there won't be much of a problem for them financially, right? So, Rudy, what do you think?
So, while EVs can be charged using a standard household outlet, the charging process will be incredibly slow. Owners need to install a level 2 home charger for practically daily use, and purchasing and installing such a charger would cost from a few hundred to more than a few thousand ringgits. This adds another upfront expenses, not typically for regular conventional vehicle ownership, and potentially being a barrier for renters. In some cases, insuring an EV can also be more expensive due to their higher purchase price, the cost of repairing specialized components, and the need for specialized technicians, potentially increasing the ongoing cost of ownership.
So, the cost of EVs remain a challenge for many. Quite understandable, since the trend is still new and the cost of owning an EV needs planning and careful consideration. Now, moving on to you, Roger. Besides financial hurdles, what are the other challenges or disadvantages of EVs? Maybe there are some performance issues regarding EVs. Tell us.
Actually, there is. One common thing that EV owners are always concerned about are range anxiety. It's a persistent fear that an EV will run out of charge before reaching a destination or charging station remains a physiological barrier for many even as modern EV ranges improve. This can influence road planning for long trips and create stress and even discourage long-distance travel for some users. Compounding this is the charging time, as refilling an EV battery takes considerably longer than filling a gasoline tank. For example, level 1 charging is practically slow and not suitable for users who constantly need it. Level 2 charging requires an overnight charge, and while DC fast charging can add significant range quickly, its availability is less widespread and frequent use may have long-term battery health implications.
Yo, that's a solid point. Range anxiety is a real, and it's something a lot of EV owners don't talk about Don't talk about until they are white knuckling the steering wheel with 5% battery left and no charger inside. Even with tech improving and range stretching past 100 km, the fear of getting stranded can still mess with your head, especially on road trips or rural roads. And you're right, Roger. Charging time is another major pain. I mean, compare spending 5 minutes at a gas pump to waiting 30 until 60 minutes at a fast charger, assuming you can even find one nearby. That's a whole vibe killer if you are on a schedule. So, have you ever seen a public charger? What do you think about that?
The public charging infrastructure, while growing consistently, is not yet as dense and or reliable as the petrol network used by conventional cars. Availability of this infrastructure is often sparse in rural areas, and issues like occupied or other service charges creates limitation for users without a reliable home charging port. A portion of the population, particularly those who live in apartments or relying on street parking, cannot easily install a home charger because of lack of space and requires permissions to install it. This makes EV ownership less practical and creates an equity issue.
Facts. That's another massive issue right there is that public charging infrastructure still feels like it is in beta mode compared to the original oil petrol station system we are used to. So, Rudy, are EVs truly as green as they are marketed to be, or are we just shifting the environmental burden to a different part of the world?
Honestly, EVs are not clearly as clean as their advertisement say they are. Sure, they don't have tailpipe emissions, but mining lithium, cobalt, and nickel for the it causes a lot of damage to the environment. So forests are destroyed and sources are polluted, and most of the mining that take place in poorer countries with weak regulations.
Agreed. And if the electricity used to charge those EVs come from coal or gas, we're just moving the pollution upstream. It's like you're not burning fuel in your car, but the power plant is doing it for you. Plus, battery production leaves a big carbon footprint before the car even hits the road.
That was a solid take from both of you. And that's the kind of nuance we need in this episode. EVs aren't the planet magic bullet they are sold as. Sure, they help reduce emission on the road. But what if back-end like mining, manufacturing and electricity generation is still dirty? Then we are just shifting the pollution behind the curtain. Gentlemen, that wraps up today's deep dive into the not so glamorous life of electric vehicles. It's clear that while EVs offer hope for a cleaner, greener future, we've still got a long road ahead before they can truly replace conventional cars in a way that's accessible, sustainable, and practical for everyone. From high purchase costs, charging struggles, and limited infrastructure, to environmental concerns that get swept under the rug. These are all real challenges that the industry and policymakers need to address ASAP if we want EVs to be a long-term solution, not as a threat.
EVs aren't perfect, and people deserve to know that full picture of the pros and cons of the EVs. But that doesn't mean we throw the idea out the window. It means that we need to push harder for innovations, smarter policies, and cleaner tech that actually live up to the hype.
Exactly. It's not about choosing side. It's about asking the right question and making sure the future of transport isn't just clean on paper, but clean in practice for everyone.
And at the end of the day, EVs are just one piece of the puzzle. We need more than just electric cars. We need better public transit, walkable cities, sustainable energy, and a complete mindset shift around how we move and consume.
And that's a wrap for this episode. We'll catch you next time with more real talk on the future of automotive trend. Until then, stay curious, stay informed, and keep driving the conversation forward. I will see you all in our last episode.
Bye.
Bye.